very, very, very simple. The idea here with the meditation that we're going to be doing is we're going to look at three types of meditations. The idea of meditation is the observation of something, and the observation of something can be of all types. So you can observe your thoughts, you can observe your body, you can observe what happens outside of you. So for the purpose of this program, we'll look at three ways of observing internally. And the three bits that we'll look at are space, the spaces we take, the sensations we have, and the thoughts we have. And we're going to start with the easiest one, and then sort of go gradually to the ones that I personally think are more difficult, but it's not the same for everybody. So some people find different techniques easier or harder. So today, what we'll do is look at the Vipassana technique, which for me is the most basic, the most simple one, because it requires the least explanations, and it really, for me, is the basis to all the other types of meditations. So Vipassana is based on the idea of observing sensations. So you have sensations in your body all the time. From top to bottom, there's always sensations. What happens is that most of the time we're not aware of the sensations in our body. And with this type of meditation, all we're going to be looking at is noticing the different sensations in your body. And what I mean by sensations is it can be cold, it can be hot, it can be tense, it can be, you may feel, if you're sitting in a position like with your legs crossed, at some point you may feel some pain in your knees, for example. And what you want is to really try to refine the noticing of the sensations as much as possible. And what I mean by refine is pain is a very gross sensation. It's a very general sensation. When you feel that sensation of pain, what you want is to start noticing exactly what is happening. And you may notice that the pain is actually a sort of a throbbing, or it may feel like a needle is sort of being, stuck into your knee. You may feel that it is tensing. You may feel pulsations, etc., etc. And so, what you want when you're doing the Vipassana type of meditation, so the sensation meditation, is to be, they use the word equanimity. What you want is to not try to change the sensations, to not consider one sensation better than another. So some sensations may feel good. So you may feel a sort of sense of little buzzing like this. At some point you may feel so like, this feels really nice. While other things like the pain in the knees may feel like it hurts you. The moment you start to feel, to believe that it hurts you or that this is a nice sensation, you're stepping away from the observation. And now you're getting into judgment. And you start getting into, oh, I like this more than this. And this is the moment where you're doing it wrong. So the moment you notice that you like or dislike something, a sensation within your body, you know that you're going off the path. And this is the sign that you can come back into the path and remember to observe it and say, oh, okay, well, so actually, what is this sensation? And to observe exactly where it is in your body. So the way we're going to practice this is very, very simple. You start at the top of your head and you try to sense the sensations at the very top of your head. And then slowly you go gradually down and you go through your forehead, your eyebrows, your eyes, ears, cheeks, nose, your lips, your chin, your neck, shoulders, and then the rest of your body going down. If you really struggle with sensing sensations through your body, so if you find it very difficult to concentrate on the different sensations at different places, what you want to do is to focus only on the sensations around your nose and above your lips. And The reason is because this is one of the areas where you will always have easier sensations because there is the flow of air coming in and out from your nose. So if you're struggling with feeling sensation throughout your body, don't worry, it's completely normal. It's perfectly fine. Um, all you want to do is to focus on the sensation you feel just here around the nostrils where the air comes in and out of your nose, and then on this part just above your lip, where again you will feel the air from your nose going onto your skin. And so we're going to spend all our time noticing the sensation. Again, focus on this little part if you can't feel sensation throughout your body. And if you can feel sensation from top to bottom, what you do is you go from top to bottom and then back from bottom to top. And you repeat that process. And sometimes that process may take a couple of minutes only. You may find yourself going quite fast, up or down, or it may take you a lot of time. Sometimes I've noticed that it can take half an hour for me to go from top to bottom because I feel a lot of different little things all over the place. So this is the point where I wish I could get you guys to ask questions and to see whether what I'm saying makes any sense. I hope my explanation is clear enough for you to be able to work with this. Um, Again, I was planning for Q&A after somehow, but okay. What we'll do is that I will now set up, instead of doing the full hour, because again, I'm a little, to be honest, confused as to exactly what is happening and why this is not working in a way that I was hoping for. Uh, we're going to do a half-hour meditation, and I know we start a little late and it's kind of got a little delayed. Um, and then we'll maybe have a continuation of the conversation on the Google Hangout to see if you have questions, if anything doesn't make sense from this exercise. Well, actually, I don't know why we should do half an hour anyway. I've got the time. Um, Yeah, does that make sense, Sandra? Oh, cool, fantastic. Okay, so we'll stick to that slight new update to the program. Let's do the half hour. Oh, wait, actually, Sandra, what I'll give you a little bit of time. Can you tell me what makes sense? Does the explanation make sense, or does it make sense to shorten it to half an hour so that we can do some chatting after to dig in into what's been going on and how it works? Fantastic, great. So we'll do that. We'll shorten the time. And well, you notice I was just sort of thinking now as I was waiting to get the answer. One of the results you notice from this type of meditation is that obviously when you close your eyes and you do this in a focused way for half an hour, you really learn to focus on you really sort of put all your attention on these sensations. But then what will slowly happen is that as you're experiencing life, you start noticing these sensations. Like now, when I was waiting for the answer, I could definitely notice different sort of throbbing in my body and my heart beating faster. Um, Probably, and then you can start noticing how the sensations lead to certain emotions or are a precursor to certain emotions or certain beliefs, certain thoughts. And I could definitely here notice the heartbeat being related to a slight sense of anxiety from not from things not happening the way I wanted them to happen. And this is something that often happens when things don't go according to how we thought they would happen, to our expectations of how things would happen. Very often that creates a wide range of strange sensations that, if you don't notice them, turn into anger, frustration, disappointment, etc. Well, when you notice the sensation, you can sort of go back to, again, the observation of like, oh, this is happening. I am actually feeling some sort of anxiety. I'm feeling some sort of frustration. And so you start noticing these little triggers. Last little thing before I set the timer. So what I'll do is I'll put a timer on the mobile phone. It's just about the sitting position. I am sitting in the lotus position, but this is not at all a requirement. Um, what you want really is to find a position that is comfortable for you. And when we say comfortable, there's a few things you want. Is a position in which you can sit for half an hour without moving, where you can sort of commit to sitting for 30 minutes like this and not change your position. You may just want to simply cross your legs, find a nice little pillow. That's what I do, is that I put a little pillow so that I can sit nicely. And most importantly, what you want is for your spine to be straight. So you want to be able to keep your spine straight without having to do too much effort. At the beginning, if you're not used to doing this, and if you haven't done much exercise with your core, it may feel like you have to tense a lot your abdominal muscles and the back abdomen, the back muscles, and that's sort of normal. And like every muscle, every exercise, it will get easier as you do it. The other thing is, the reason we close our eyes for this type of meditation um, is because you don't want to have visual distractions. Um, so we're on Skype. Well, I guess we're not seeing each other. You're seeing me, and I'm not quite seeing you, but I know you're there. So it doesn't really matter. What's interesting is the idea that by knowing that we're there together, it's also a motivation, and that you know that if at any time you sort of wonder how long has happened, don't worry. My mobile is plugged in. It's not gonna die. So if it feels like it's been forever and that nothing is happening, and that surely the half hour is done by now, have faith that it's not. And what I like to tell people, for especially the first time you're doing this type of meditation, is you can allow yourself one peak. So if you really feel that the half hour must have really passed, just allow yourself a little peek. And if I'm still there, close your eyes again and go back to the meditation. So, without further ado, let's get started, and then we'll have the rest of the conversation in typing, or I'll let you guys type, and then I'll try to make the comment. We'll make something work. So I'll put this on, and I wish you all a lovely meditation wherever you're sitting. Again, you can sit on a chair. If you sit on a chair, one little thing: don't lean your back to the chair, because what you will find, at least what I find personally, and this may be different. So what I find is that if I lean my back against the back of the chair, then I tend to fall asleep. Just simply put, that's all that happens. I tend to fall asleep. So you want to sort of keep yourself straight. Mhm. Okay, so I've set the timer on for 30 minutes, and I'm going to start now. Enjoy the meditation, and see you in a half an hour. Hi. So, hi, I see that we have 3 viewers now. The half hour of meditation now over. What I suggest is that we pick up the conversation somewhere in the chat. Let me see if there is a way for me to bring you in the conversation. But I'm definitely not quite understanding all these chat words because I see a lot of others. I'll quickly share my screen with you so that maybe one of you will have, oh, this is looking crazy, looking very crazy. This is what my screen looks like and looks just as crazy. But what you can see here on the left is I've got these options for chat, for questions and answers, and I'm not quite sure why they're not working. So what I suggest that we pick up the conversation on the actual event. So if you go to the Google Plus event page, which you've either received the link to or you're connected to, please feel free to share your experience of this technique, any thoughts you have, any questions you have, any concerns, any challenges you had during this half hour, any positive experiences. So we're waiting for any questions or comments. I'm going to share my experience of this meditation, because what I noticed over the last week is that for about a week now, during a lot of my meditations, my vipassana sensation meditations, I've been feeling a lot of sensations. So I actually went back a few times this week to sensing only this part, and I have no idea why. There's something that happens sometimes, sometimes more often than others. Sometimes we'll feel a lot of sensations, and so as I've been struggling to feel many sensations, today I went back to going from top to bottom, and as I felt little sensations, very soft sensations. Um, I could feel a little bit of drowsiness, could feel a little bit of sleepiness, and that can happen until a mosquito started biting me on the left side here. And obviously, my first instinct and reaction was to open my eyes and see whether there was a mosquito, or even just slap it with my hand, which is what I would have done if I was awake, probably. Or well, awake as if I wasn't meditating. But as we're talking about the sensations, as we're meditating together, what happens is I observed the sensation of the mosquito biting me. And interestingly enough, the mosquito biting me was probably the nicest thing that could have happened during this meditation, because as I could feel this gentle little pinch, actually. It wasn't a very unpleasant sensation as I got used to it, and as I observed it, I noticed it was just a gentle little pinch. It wasn't hard, it wasn't painful, and it didn't actually even, it wasn't even itching or irritating. All it was a gentle little pinch. And then I could feel a lot more sensations through the rest of my body in a very interesting way. And then another mosquito started biting me here, and I can see that the bite is actually bigger than a lot of the bites I usually have, because again, I didn't move, and I could just notice that little sort of thin little needle getting in my arm, and that completely woke me up, and all the drowsiness went away. And I started feeling a lot of nicer sensations throughout the body. I could feel a lot more things in my shoulders, at the top of my back. And then what happens is that my foot started going to go to sleep, started to go to sleep. And again, what I noticed is that my first reaction to it, and that is the key word, the reaction to my foot starting going to go to sleep was, oh, maybe I should move. I want to move my foot. I want to change my position, because if I stay like this, it's going to keep going to sleep. It's going to be sleeping more and more. And by the end of the meditation, it's going to be completely asleep. And when I started noticing this thought pattern going on, I noticed that I wasn't observing anymore. And that what happened is that I was just interpreting and judging the sensation. And the moment I went back to noticing the sensation, instead of thinking that my foot was falling asleep, what I could notice was tension on the outer part of my foot. On one side of my foot, I could feel a strong tension in the muscles, and on the other side, I couldn't feel anything actually. And when I noticed that on the side where I was feeling the tension, what I was feeling was a sort of a pulsing, kind of throbbing sensations in, in in some of the areas. I mean, this is my hand, but I'm trying to reproduce it. On some of the areas, I could feel throbbing and sensation and pulsing, and all the way to a point where I could feel nothing again. And so, what happened is that I spent the time observing these sensations rather than judging the sensation as good or bad. Now, I said we do have a comment from David. Oh, David, thanks for joining us. Hmm. Thank you. Yes. Um, Yes, we'll re-catch up on the technique, and you will notice I managed to cut a little bit of the session because the start was a little shaky. Um, yeah, it's interesting what you say about the time flashing and passing at different speeds, and it is well, there's one of the other techniques that I will share in the future the technique where we observe the thoughts, where I noticed that if you combine the technique where you observe the thoughts and the one in which you observe the space, you get to actually start observing time. And I find that fascinating because you're absolutely correct. That time seems to sort of stretch and contract as it happens. And for me, also in this meditation, what happened is that the beginning felt very, very, very slow until finally these mosquitoes bit me, and I started having the pain or the pain, the my foot of going numb. And at that moment, a lot of sensations started happening, and time started going a lot faster. And that's when I got surprised that the half hour was over. Well, probably the first 15 minutes were really, really slow for me. So yeah, it is very interesting how time changes as we meditate. And what we'll notice is that what I found is that half hour gives you that sense, and then when you go to a full hour, um, you get a lot more of that roller coaster of it must have been at least an hour, and then no, it can't have been more than 10 minutes, and you completely sort of lose that notion of time, which I think is fascinating. So if we don't have any more questions or any more comments, what I will do is that we'll slowly close this session. So thank you again for everyone who did join in, and apologies for the challenges with technology and the slow starts. What I will do is that I will go back through my network and figure out what I either did wrong with the Google Hangouts, because when I did this with another group that organized a conversation like this, we managed to have 10 people actually speaking simultaneously, and I'm not quite sure why this is not happening. And if it's not something that I've done wrong in my setup, what I will do is look out to figure out what is another tool that we can use, because I know that Skype unfortunately allows only a maximum of 5 people, and doesn't really allow the broadcast for others to join in. So if you have any suggestion, if you know of any tool that you would recommend for doing this, please let me know. And otherwise, we will figure something out next time, because like this, it's hopefully useful for you. But I feel that we could get a lot more if we had a direct interaction, and if you could talk to me and I could answer your questions, and you could interact, comment, tell me what hasn't or has worked for you. For the rest of the day, the little exercise that you may want to keep for yourself is noticing the different sensations at times at which you're not doing anything. So if you commute and you're in the car or you're in a train or a bus, the moments in which you're not actively doing something, notice a sensation. Pick a part of your body, your knee or your ear or somewhere in your back, and try to notice if you can feel something there, because there's always a sensation. Just notice what sensation you feel at that place. And what I will do is that I will also slow down. What I wanted to do, sorry, what I wanted to do was to start an Excel sheet, which I did with the previous group that did the online meditation with me, where everyone could add their log of how long they meditate on a daily basis. Because what we found is that when you can share with other people what you do, You can see other people doing the same thing. It's very motivating. And again, it feels that it gives a sense of connectedness, of belonging. And it's very pleasant to know that we're all doing these things together, even though we're in different parts of the world, in different time zones, and that where my morning is, it's your evening. And it doesn't matter because we're all experiencing something similar, which is all these sensations in the body. For the rest of the day, keep noticing sensations, and then for the rest of the week, set yourself a timer like we did today. Put an actual timer. You don't have to do half an hour. Do 20 minutes if that's all the time you have. Do 10 minutes if that's all the time you have. If you have more, do 40 minutes, do an hour. The actual time doesn't really matter. What matters is that you stretch as far as you can with the time you have. And like everything you can learn, you want to learn, what you want is to repeat that practice as often as possible, rather than longer stretches on a rare basis. Because what you do want to do is to form a habit. And one of the best ways to form a habit is to do something every day and to do at the same time and at the same place. So if there's a specific place and specific time at which this can work better for you, do that. If it doesn't, do it whenever it works, whenever you can. Well, thank you again for joining me for this interesting experiment of the here and now through the internet. And I wish you a fabulous, lovely end of the day. I will keep observing the comments on the event. So if you have any thoughts, any questions, anything that worked or didn't work, any suggestions, please share them there and we'll continue the conversation. I wish you a lovely, fabulous end of the day or start of the day, depending where you are.